everyone? Tony D and little Joan here with good news and getting stories off the Good News Network and uplifting news on Reddit and news stories that little Joan picked out herself. Right, little Joan? Right, little Joan, with your terrible haircut? I'll fix that soon. Um, Please smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books, Welcome Stand a Novel and The Pineys. You can support the channel by buying a book, ebook, trade paperback. Kindle Unlimited is free. Or you can support the channel by subscribing, or both. And you can help little Joan get a better haircut. Right, little Joan? All right, let's get into it. Good news. From the Good News Network, scientists use recycled sewage water to grow 500-acre forests in the middle of an Egyptian desert. This is huge news. Recent efforts by Egyptian scientists have produced plenty of research suggesting that the wastewater potential for afforestation in the country could turn 1.6 million acres of desert into commercial forests that are arable, and economically viable. That's amazing. The sewage water arrives in massive microorganism-populated underground vats where oxygen is fed to accelerate the bacterial purification process. A system of pipes then deposits the wastewater throughout the forest. That's amazing. That is amazing. Because think about it. I mean, not only are you building forest, but you're getting rid of the wastewater and you're not just dumping it in the ocean or something. This is something I think everybody should be trying to do if they can. It sounds gross, but if you do the right thing, then it's just the trees. The trees are eating it. The trees are eating the sewage, basically. It's not you. It's just the trees. I'm sure there's probably some long-term things, but in the case of like a place like Egypt, where it says, according to the article, 96% of it is desert, this to me sounds very important. And when you grow more forest, my understanding, it can help change the weather pattern. It can help create more water in the ecosystem, so that naturally it will be sustainable on its own someday if you make it enough of it. Certainly, in the ancient world, they didn't understand the concept of over farming. I'm sure they ruined some desert. They created some deserts back in the day. It wasn't always a desert country like it is now. So this could undo some of the climate damage that was put there by the ancient people. So good for you, Egypt. Good for you. Keep working on that. A tiny hospital in Texas might help solve the mask shortage. They've developed a new mask, better than the N95 mask, that is totally reusable, and this is it here. Looks pretty elaborate. I assume you just wash it off. The durable masks given to the hospital workers at TCID are called North 7700 respirators, and they are much more effective than N95 masks. This is the Texas Center for Infectious Disease. Wow. They are paying $7 for the N95 mask rather than the typical cost of 58 cents due to shortages. Well, due to demand, really. So this is really good. This is really good. And they were given these masks. Unlike the N95 mask, which filter 95% of the particles larger than 0.3 microns in diameter, the P100 cartridges used in the North 7700 mask at the Texas hospitals filter out 99.97% of the particles. In fact, there's a strict policy against wearing N95s at the hospital unless you are a visitor. So N95 masks for this hospital are the low end. So that's good news. That's good news. So hopefully we can get more of these made. They may come in handy in the years to come. Who knows? from this news site. What is this news site? It just says news and it has like a symbol. But this has been going around a few sites. Prickles, the sheep, returns home to Dunalley Farm after fleeing 2013 bushfires. Now, Prickles, it's such a weird name, Prickles, was living in a cave for 7 years and finally was caught and brought back to the farm and hadn't been sheared in all that time. So you can see by the picture, this is what a sheep would look like if you didn't shear it. So kind of grungy, kind of some nice wool there, I assume. I bet the sheep was happy. I bet Prickles was happy to be back and be sheared after running around with all that. Although it does look rather comfy, so maybe not. Maybe he was very comfortable with it. But good for you, Prickles, coming home. Renewable energy capacity hit record levels in 2019. For those of you who are big on solar and wind and water, it's a good sign. We're doing better in this fight. We're doing better in this fight. It's tough. It's as the technology increases, to some extent, you don't want to build too much of this stuff because someday they're going to have solar panels that, a little square this big will be able to power your car or your house. So, when the technology gets to that point, what are you going to do with all the old ones? And you're going to have these fields and fields and fields of this stuff, and the inclination is a lot of these solar farms. When you get to the point that a little solar panel this big or some other, energy source, what are you going to do with all this material? So I think we're changing, but we're changing slowly, and it should be a slow process. But I'm glad more renewable energy is being used. I mean, I think the planet is getting better in general, certainly during this month. Idaho Farm gave away potatoes for free so they wouldn't go to waste. Good for him. This is what farmers should do. If thousands and thousands of potatoes they were expecting to sell, instead of dumping them, they just gave them away. I'd like to get some of them potatoes. Ooh, Idaho potatoes for free. There's really no market, so people can come in, just get bags and bags of potatoes. Ooh, that sounds great. Sounds great. Good for him. Good for him, Cranny Farms in Oakley. Good for you. Amazon rainforest, fire weather. Is it raining in the Amazon forest? Now, I think a lot of the fire in the Amazon has been overblown a bit. Again, this is sort of climate activism run amok. There are fires every year in the Amazon forest. It's a big forest. We here in the Pine Barrens feel your pain, but it happens. Lightning hits and it happens. And there are some natural occurring, I'm sure, in the Amazon forest, just like in the Pine Barrens. We have the dwarf pine, which thrives after a forest fire. I'm sure there are animals and forest flora that will thrive after a forest fire. So, not saying, hey, let's burn down the Amazon. I'm just saying, keep it in perspective. And it looks like there's some rain, so it's probably putting out the fire, at least containing it somewhat. Israel launches a new contactless roadside virus test booths, which have zero contact between nurse and patient. Well, that's good. No PPP is necessary, making the unit agile and cheap to run. This is a good thing. Hopefully we won't need it for much longer, but the booths provide an entirely sealed, sterile environment for the medic. And then, people can just come in. Oh, there's a picture of it right there. See? You can just see the medic is contained and the person is on the outside. So that, look at that. That's a funny looking kiosk. Got a little stool there. You stand up. And now they, I think this is the last story I have. Is this the one? No. But the last story, or another story I read was they've developed a saliva test now. So it's going to be even easier to get these tests and process them and get them done. They're developing them quicker and quicker. Hopefully, we'll have the antibody test soon, and that's going to tell us a lot, and we can put all this craziness behind us. Finally, kennel in Palm Beach Animal Shelter empty for the first time thanks to an increase in adoptions. So good for you, people of Palm Beach. We've seen a lot of stories like this. People are adopting animals because they're stuck at home. Now, don't go returning the animals when this is all over just because you're bored with them. That's not nice, but I'm glad to see a lot of doggies and kitties are getting adopted. Isn't that nice, Joan? Isn't that nice for the doggos and the kitties and whatever else they got in the kennel? That's nice. Joan thinks it's nice. She's a little sleepy. And finally, your happy animal video. This is from Cute Animals. And you can see there's a cute animal, and he's a doggy. He's very happy, and he's trying to get a treat. So that's it for good news. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope that cheered you up a little bit. Right, Joan? Yeah. Look at that cute doggy. He's picking a treat under the thing. That's very cute.